Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 15 of our F123 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend ready for the Italian Grand Prix and back at the Temple of Speed. Of course, if you missed out on yesterday's video from the Dutch Grand Prix, probably one of the crazier races we've had so far this season, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. And quickly as well, of course, before we dive into this one, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the continued support on this series. Daily My Team videos until we win the World Championship. So, of course, if that isn't good enough reason to get yourself subscribed, I don't know what is there. Closing in on 109,000 subscribers, of course, and then the big one, 110k up next. So, yeah, massive thank you to all of you for the continued support. Plenty of upgrades in the works on both the aero and the chassis side of things at the moment, trying to bring us back in line with the lower end of the midfield. But, yeah, kind of crazy that we associate this with the last race of the European leg of the season, yet we've still got so many tracks to go to. Singapore, Suzuka, the all-new, well, not quite all-new, but basically all-new LaSalle circuit, COTA, Mexico, Brazil, Vegas, and then, of course, the end of the season out in Abu Dhabi. But Max Verstappen still with a 50-point lead in the championship over Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez, so it still looks like the Red Bull man is looking to try and check this one out as soon as possible. But you won't be able to do it this weekend at Monza. However, I'm hoping, based on Belgium a couple of weeks ago, this track, fingers crossed, will suit our car. I've got to make sure I put an old gearbox back into the car this weekend as well. Or, sorry, a newer gearbox that is in the pool already. I like to keep things complicated inside F123. But yeah, very, very slippery Monza circuit then here on Friday morning. The rain isn't meant to carry, though, into the rest of the weekend. So I guess we've just kind of got to manage it there, as you can see immediately locking up the rear brakes down at turn 1. This could end up being quite a fun challenge of a free practice. I am still so much a fan of the new braking physics inside F123. I know some people aren't a fan of the way the rear end can slide around, but it does, to me, feel so much more realistic, and I do love the modularity of it. Now, only problem we have got is, generally speaking, practice programs can be a little bit broken in changeable conditions, of course, because the game doesn't really know what sort of targets you should be aiming for anymore. So we might just have to settle for some green scores. Rounding our way through the final corner, though. Oh, a lot of understeer there at the midway point, but out the final turn we'll go. It's going to be 234, 240 points there at the end of our track acclimatization. But yeah, like I said, a lot of the track acclimatization laps are actually based on your throttle usage, so I don't think sensibly we're going to be able to get purple. But anyway, on to my tyre wear simulation run then. Let's see what sort of score we can get here. I mean, how on earth we're losing delta on a straight, won't quite understand, but there we are. Yeah, let's just try and see it again. Green or purple, we will wait and see. DRS now enabled then here in free practice, so not too sure whether we're ready to make the switch over onto a set of dry tyres just yet. Let's see if we actually get the DRS then. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, looking at that tracer on the graphic, I'm not convinced that... I mean, we're just losing everything down the straight still, so I don't quite know how that works. It's a good job Monza isn't a particularly tyre abrasive circuit anyway, isn't it? As we're just... I feel like I'm on a Sunday drive. We're still up on the delta, but the tyre wear, no chance. As we round our way then out of the final corner, still just about going to be up on the delta as we get towards the line, but yeah, no chance we're going to get any score there. Pretty much a full red lap. Rather an impressive achievement in itself. But let's just go into qualifying. Well, I was going to suggest as we move into qualifying that it was going to be sunny skies here, but apparently not still at the Temple of Speed. I also put that new gearbox into the car, but apparently we haven't got that either, so not too sure what's going on inside F123. I'll have to make sure I make that change again then before we jump into the race itself, because the last thing I want is a gearbox failure. But anyway, jumping in to our first lap. We've got a couple of cars heading out of pit lane. Nick de Vries there gets out of the way. I'm not convinced Esteban Ocon, though, is going to do the same as we make our way through the first chicane there. The Frenchman, come on, man. Thank you very much in the end. He could have at least either given me the slipstream all the way through Curva Grande or just kind of moved. Anyway, rounding our way then out of the Ascari chicane. They're fairly clean and tidy. This first lap hasn't been too bad on the whole, but I really just have got no idea what the pace is going to look like around this venue. So we make our way then out of the Parabolica towards start-finish line. It's going to be a 120.5 there. We only go quicker than Aaron. That is not reassuring. Well, looking at the data then as we head back out for our final qualifying run, it's not looking great, to be honest. It might just be a case of we haven't got enough power or we're running a little bit too much downforce here. We're half a second away from Oscar Piastri there, but 8/10 up on our teammates still. So, yeah, final run in Q1. We're just going to have to really try and send it and hope that we can be brave and find a lot of time through the corners. This is in front of me, doesn't hold me up. Nico Hulkenberg, come on, get on with it. As we make our way through the Ascari chicane, they're trying to be as brave as possible. We are now half second up, and he's going to give me a little bit of slipstream as we head down this back straight. So this hasn't worked out too badly for me. Thank you very much, Nico. See, why couldn't Esteban Ocon have done that on my first run, but rounding out of the final corner, then trying to pick up the throttle as early as possible up towards the finish line. We've pretty much given it everything it's got, and I think it's still P21. That is pretty upsetting there. P20 in the end, so we might have jumped Nick de Vries, but yeah, there was not much more the car could give. Going to look then at our Q1 results. Charles Leclerc, Ferrari. How many times have I said this in recent weeks? Fastest at the end of the first runs there. Looks like, again, as always, Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari all pretty much on the money. A 10th away, though, from making it into Q2, so that's reassuring then, in the sense of we're not actually that far away from a lot of other cars. I mean, half a second covering our top 10 there at the end of Q1 is pretty wild. But, yeah, I mean, 1.6 seconds clear of Aaron behind us as well. So we're going to be, hopefully, there or thereabouts in the fight today. Strategy is probably going to come into this. But when can I hire a proper second driver?
Welcome to the home of the Parabolica, now known as the Curva Alboreto in tribute to the Italian motorsport legend Michele Alboreto. It's a long, long right-hander. It dares you to keep your foot as far down on the throttle as you possibly can. It's one of the great corners on the calendar, and we're here at Monza, ahead of the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds up to 215 and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Sainz, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Gasly, Ocon, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Albon, Joe, Tsunoda, Stroll, Sargent, De Vries, and the reserve driver rounds off the grid. Magnussen. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Right, well, here we are then, on the grid, ready for the Italian GP. And I might have given the team some stick about not putting a new gearbox in the car. Turns out they had done that. It was other engine components as well that needed changing. So I thought, we're basically starting at the back anyway. I'm going to put all those new components that we had available to us into the car. And that way, hopefully, we're going to have the extra ponies we need to keep up with some of the faster drivers as well. Last question mark challenge then here from the Temple of Speed. But hopefully, we can make it work. As Crofty, he gets more and more confused every time with the reserve driver. And apparently now, I've got no name at all. Well, Charles Leclerc then has got a big opportunity to make history once more here at Monza and try to win the Italian Grand Prix for Ferrari once again. But what are we going to be able to achieve today from the rear of the field? Trying to put some heat into the rears as best as possible. And let's try and get this thing nicely lined up then on the grid. A little bit of throttle. There we go. Pretty much perfect then. As we wait on the grid then here for the 5 red lights of the Italian GP. Lights out and away we go. Pretty clean getaway, to be honest. As you can see, cars immediately fan out a little bit further up. And we've actually done pretty well there off the start. Sargent trying to have a look to the inside of Yuki Tsunoda. Look at Aaron Barnes getting involved. So we head down towards turn 1, and somehow we found an avenue down the inside there in towards the first corner, side by side with Yuki Tsunoda. Don't quite want to run off into the grass there. Really want to try to avoid that curb, to be honest, as best as possible. As yeah, look at that P17 immediately then, still side by side with the AlphaTauri car as we head out of turn 3. We're just going to have to slot back in now as Tsunoda. Oh, come on. Whoa, we're getting lots of contact as Lance Stroll trying to butt the nose in somewhere it didn't belong, but looks like we've kept it pretty clean and tidy then on this opener. That little bit of contact with the Canadian, but no harm, no foul. As Charles Leclerc then romping away at the front of the field. I know he'll be desperate to try and create a 1-second lead as early as possible here. Still a 50-point deficit to Max Verstappen in the championship. It's not insurmountable. Let's look at this 2x2. So we head down in towards the Ascari chicane there. Again, Lance Stroll thought about it, but backs out before we make it in. And surely we'll see a little bit of Constantina and up from the cars in front as well there. But Charles Leclerc leads at the end of lap 1. Red Bull P2 and P3. Looks like we've got a Mercedes in 4th ahead of Fernando Alonso. I mean, look at this. It's like watching NASCAR as they make their way through the final corner. 2x2 they go. And this battle more than likely extends up into the points early on then this afternoon. As again, it looks like one of the McLaren cars, Lando Norris, seems to always be able to hang on with those front runners early on in the GP. I mean, this is just mental. Absolutely mental as we head back down towards turn 1. There is everyone trying to make places. Alex Albon fighting up just on the cusp of points there. But of course, the big one for us, we're going to make sure Haas don't score points. As yellow flags out, someone's got issues in this race. Oh, it's Esteban Ocon. I don't know what's going on there with Yuki Tsunoda stopping on the racing line, but we've made it through. And yeah, the Alpine car then out on just lap 2 of the Italian Grand Prix, so not surprised, no safety car from that one. But yeah, we almost ran into the back of it, which would not have been ideal. I mean, look at that, 3 wide as we head our way through turn 1 again. Then Gasly, Albon, Hülkenberg and Bottas all leading this train, but we need to try and find a way to get to the front of this group of cars now. I mean, we pretty much had the dream start to the Italian GP, but now as DRS gets enabled, things are going to get even more crazy here. As down the inside of Zhou Guan Yu. We'll slip down the inside there, make sure I don't run into the back of Oscar Piastri. There's Albon now, up into the highs of P9. I always thought this would be a good weekend for Williams. Let's see if they can try and score their first legitimate points. I mean, the AI really do like to turn it up to 11 here at Monza in terms of how aggressive they race with each other. They love to go for moves. Just look at that. 2-3 wide again. They're going to go 4 wide almost as we head back down towards turn 1. Nico Hülkenberg decides that's a bad idea. We're going to have a look down the inside of Oscar Piastri. They're a very, very robust move. Accidentally locking up slightly as contact with the Australian on the exit as well. But make sure we don't lose the DRS for those cars in front. I think the goal has just got to be try and get to the front of this train. Gasly then under so much pressure still. He's got 6 cars from 6 different teams all over his gearbox, I think, at the moment. As you can see, oh, look at that. Bottas goes one side. Albon tries to drive into the same space there. Again, Hulkenberg is just going to have to sit back as Gasly has got nothing. We bounce off the red line at 227 miles an hour there. Somehow get at the inside, and Nico Hulkenberg down at turn 1 anyway. But yeah, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Early on here at Monza, 227 though. I think that's got to be the fastest I've achieved so far in this game. And I mean, that's in one of the slower cars on this grid. How fast can cars go on F123? Here goes Gasly though to the inside of Bottas. Albon though is going to cover him off. Does the Finn a bit of a favour there and actually invites Bottas around the outside into the chicane. Of course, I'm sure Alfa Romeo looking for a good weekend here, but yeah, here goes Albon again, one side, Gasly to the other. They're going to be 3 wide, so we head down in towards the final couple of corners once again then, and can we just focus on trying to get a good exit and potentially jumping, and Bottas gets tripped up. Gasly as well gets a bit caught out in the process, and now suddenly we're going to have the DRS off Alex Albon as well there, and 1, 2 and 3 overtakes made, and back then we'll go into P9 of the GPs. Look at that, they're still 3 wide in front. Everyone in this afternoon trying to get involved in the battles. As Sainz, Norris and George Russell there disputing P6. Looks like one of the Red Bulls has broken free, and then Alonso battling with the other Red Bull car for the podium as Lando Norris to the outside of Lewis Hamilton. So we head back up in towards the second chicane there. What is this Grand Prix early on? It is just every single lap at the moment, isn't it? Everyone going for it. Again, 3 wide, there's Hamilton. I mean, you start that straight at the front of a group of cars, and you're basically guaranteed to lose 2 places there. So ridiculous, but what's surprising me more is how quickly we pulled that healthy gap over Alex Albon behind us there, as Mercedes now side by side through Curva Grande. We're gaining in on the pair of them here as well. I don't think we've really got enough race pace to actually match these cars when they're not battling, so I don't really know what our game plan needs to be, but honestly, I'm tempted just to get stuck in. Look at that, Hamilton, Russell again. They should be trying to focus on closing back in on Lando and Carlos, but apparently not there. And I mean, this is just giving me shades of Austria once again as 20 laps. I mean, we're only 7 laps in. We've got 20 more laps to go here from Monza. I mean, this race is basically just going to be fully unedited at the way this is going. But Hamilton thinks about a move on George Russell, thinks better of it this time round. So yeah, we're just trying to sit back for a couple of laps, catch me breath as much as anything else. Alex Albon, I've just seen flash up on the MFD with a penalty as we're just starting to lose a little bit of track to Hamilton and Russell at the front. So maybe the AI now starting to actually work out that perhaps battling every single lap is not the way to go. But yeah, I mean, luckily we've got 3 seconds to those cars behind. So even if we just end up pushing into no man's land here, I mean, we're in the points. We went from from P22 to 9th, up 13 places in the space of 7 laps. I don't think we can really complain, irrespective of what happens. Tell you what though, Monza's not often a track we associate with bad tyre wear, but yeah, we're really struggling already with the rears. I've certainly taken a lot out of them early on this race, but Gasly now appears to have broken free from that gaggle of cars behind, so clearly it is still possible for them, as Albon, and I think it's Oscar Piastri still duking it out. So yeah, Gasly now is probably going to be in a hot pursuit of myself. Well, Hamilton and Russell again then slowing each other down a little bit over these last couple of laps has allowed me to close back in slightly, but we are going to be the first car into the pit lane then. Pretty nice and tidy on entry, can't complain too much about that run into the pits. As are we going to see anyone else behind us? Gasly is in as well then, so that's rather interesting. Off a set of mediums for Pierre, but clearly just wants to focus on closing in on me towards the end of this race. And Aaron's in. No! Let me go, please. I don't want to get jumped by Gasly. It looks like he hasn't. No, Gasly hasn't pipped, so ignore all that. But now we've got to try and stay ahead of the Frenchman. I mean, as long as we're still in the points, that's kind of the big priority here.
Come on, mate, you can do it. It's been a tough race, but I know you're capable of getting more out of that car today. Dig deep and give us the best of your talent. Come on.
Hang on, Mark. Unless no one else is pitting, we're doing pretty well here. What's that all about? I'm up 7 places from where I started anyway. And we should be in the points by the end of this. What's he on about?
gap to your teammate behind is 0.3 seconds. Okay.
Oh, no!
Forced caution, the safety car's out.
No! Safety car out at the half distance.
Slow down, maintain positive delta.
I mean, do we gamble? Do we go on a set of soft tyres? I can't believe that. That's heartbreaking.
We can take you this lap.
No one's retired. No one's stopped on the road. It's just a safety car. I don't know why. No. Right, well, right. So that means now, effectively, we've been shuffled back out of the points then in this GP. Because, of course, all the AI are going to get a cheap stop that we're able to stay out. I'm debating whether it's worth going back onto a fresh set of softs to the end of this one, just so we've... I'm not even convinced it's worth it, because it'll only last about 10 laps, sensibly. We've just been screwed over, so clearly Mark knew something that I didn't. That's why he was telling me to dig deep. Right, well, we might not get completely screwed over by this then, as we're heading down through the final couple of corners. Delta has been removed, so we are just going for it then, seeing if we can get the jump on anyone in this GP, trying to take everything we've got out of these mediums. Well, not everything we've got, but a fair bit out of these mediums, and actually that's worked out quite nicely. Around the outside of Gasly, and even we've got the jump on George Russell in all of that, because he would have been held up behind Hamilton on pit entry. So yeah, all that complaining was for naught. We're doing all right. Well, I've got no idea then what's going to happen later on in the day here at Monza. I don't know whether this has helped us, hindered us, or not really done anything. We're up into 8th place though. George Russell losing out a little bit in all of this. Well, I know one man who really won't be happy. That's Charles Leclerc. Had a dominant lead at the front of the field. I'm sure he'll be looking to try and build up that gap once again, but we may as well just go for it. Try and send it on all these cars. Restarting on a set of hard compound tyres is trying to time the run then out of the final corner. It looks like we've done just that, straight to the outside of Carlos Sainz, but now it's a battle of the ponies as we head back down towards turn 1 there. Charles Leclerc under increasing pressure. Sainz is going to send it on Lewis. So we head back down in towards the first corner. Try and get around the outside of the Ferrari. He was going to get pinched. And there we go. Read him like a book through turn 1 there. And a move done. And now we are back up into the 7th place. Of course, the 7th place, it seems to be always the position I finish in whenever we score points in this series. As George Russell then clearly has found a way around the Ferrari car as well. Down at the first couple of turns. But oh, that was a lot of curb. That was quite the risk of the restart, because that curb can pretty much throw you in any which direction. So we got lucky to get away with that one, but Hamilton already trying to streak away there with Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso, as Charles Leclerc again though seems to just be trying to inch out an early lead. Here comes George Russell down around the outside though, not really sure. Well, we've got pretty good top end speed actually related to the milk, so we're not going to make it easy for him. You can try it there, mate. And I'm pretty certain he was running himself off the road before I had anything to do with it, so let's try and run away from George then. Get that gap over a second and try to keep it there as half the battery gone in a single lap. Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton then. It's the battle of the Brits just in front of me. As neither of them want to give up then on this P5. I think it's a much more important result for Norris than it is for Lewis, but someone's taken out the 150 metre board down at turn 1. And it is incredibly off-putting as Sainz and Gasly then battling behind. So this works nicely for me. Everyone battling around us, so we're just trying to survive. I think Alonso and one of the Red Bulls have had a bit of a squabble, because now Norris and Hamilton trying to apply pressure to them, and if we can just hang close for the next few laps, I mean, dare I say it, could a podium be on the cards here? One of the Red Bulls and Charles Leclerc have checked out. I don't actually know which one's still locked into this battle, but I really do want to believe. Look at this, about to start lap 21, 7 laps to go. What is that? You can't commentate that. The way these drivers are battling it out with each other. But Hamilton then, ahead of Verstappen, Alonso, Norris. It's going to be a 5-car scrap from 5 different teams trying to duke it out for the final podium place at the moment. How are we going to be able to get involved in this as we head back down towards someone? They're straight up to the red line. There's nowhere for us to go in towards that first corner. Hamilton doesn't want to back out either against Alonso or Lando Norris as we almost go into the back of the McLaren. Verstappen now suddenly has broken free in all of this, so that's not good for any of us if we wanted a podium still this afternoon. That's scary. 3 wide as we head through Curva Grande, slipping in front of Lando Norris. Can we try and get the car slowed down? Yes, we just about can. Leave them to battle each other as the Dutchman, Max Verstappen, has suddenly, I mean, look at that. He's just broken free and gone. He doesn't want anything to do with this fight. Hamilton back to the inside as we head down in towards Ascari, but again, the AI, just like F122 it would appear, they're not very brave to go for a move there, but I think sadly for us now, Max has checked out. That tiny glimmer of hope that I had for a podium, unless something crazy happens, I think that's gone. Can we leave Alonso, Hamilton and Norris to battle each other? I mean, P4 would be a ridiculously good result in just our first season of my team. That gap opens up to a second momentarily, but I think Hamilton has still got the DRS. I mean, he's dropping back. Sainz now involved in that battle as well. We've got a chance to run away. Just hit our marks, don't do anything stupid. We can try and run away from them. As you can see there, side by side through the first chicane, and that gap immediately, there's a free second and a half. Come on. Oh no, I'm getting even more nervous now. Hamilton has broken out of that DRS range as well from Lando Norris, so slowly but surely cars are sneaking free. I mean, P4 would be a miraculous result here. I came into the race day Sunday with just a faint dream that points could be possible starting from the back of the field, but I never thought nearly on the podium would be doable. But Hamilton, I'm sure, is going to be hunting me down. Bit of a heartbreaker, Lewis. Laps to go, and I think the goal is just keep Hamilton out of that DRS range for as long as possible here. Come on, little 2-2 Motorsport car, we can do this. 2 laps to go, and I reckon if we can keep Hamilton out of the DRS, we've got an opportunity. We've just got to try and keep him out until we start the final lap of this race. Italy, come on, deliver us this result, please. Oh, these medium tyres are starting to give up, though. I think Hamilton might now be in the range. That's not going to do me any favours. Huge mistake as we head out of the second Lesmo, and Lewis Hamilton will say thank you very much. Straight past us. I mean, P4 or P5. Hopefully won't have too big ramifications come the end of the season, but yeah, I can't help but wonder. This tyre strategy was always going to be aggressive here. Is it just a bit too aggressive? We still should, so long as I don't do anything, get a run back down towards Stomon. But I can't believe we're battling 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton on the final lap here at the Italian Grand Prix for P4 no less. This would easily be our best result of the season, an absolute highlight of our first campaign. Drain the battery as we head back down towards Stomon. They're 224 miles an hour as we finally stamp on the brakes. Hamilton, though, not willing to give up on it. Oh, he really tries to cut me off there. Shades of Hamilton Verstappen here in 2021, but luckily we don't hit the curb on the outside. We keep it between the white lines and keep the fight alive there. Hamilton just about hanging on as well. Right behind us as Carlos Sainz potentially fancies a chance on this final lap, but surely Lewis is going to try and get a run down at the second Lesmo like he did last lap. We've just got to try and keep it clean and tidy for now. A little bit of a mistake. We know how good the AI are off that exit there as right on the outside. No chance there, matey boy. Come on. We are defending for all our worth on the final lap. Just drain the battery now as we head out onto the back straight once again. But Hamilton, he's got so much top end speed. Here comes Carlos Sainz as well, though. To the inside goes the Ferrari, backs out of it. We run wide, trying not to make contact with him. Hamilton will say thank you very much. And now suddenly we are defending from Carlos Sainz in towards the final corner here. Charles Leclerc will take the win at the Italian Grand Prix. Can we keep the nose to the inside of Sainz? No, we can't. And what looked to be P4 at the start of this lap, it will still be our best result of the year. That is heartbreaking, though. It's P6 here in Italy.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Here we are then, a thoroughly deserved win in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. have a quick look at how the driver standings have changed. This result then narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Italian Grand Prix here from Monza, and Charles Leclerc, he wins in Belgium. He didn't actually, but he wins the Italian Grand Prix there. 4.6 seconds clear of Sergio Perez, but a pretty flawless weekend from the Monegasque driver there, able to withstand the pressure despite the safety car as well. Max Verstappen in P3, ahead of Hamilton, Sainz and myself, and I mean, yeah, we really can't be gutted with 6th from last on the grid, but those 4 extra points, if they come back to haunt us, I'm gonna be very, very sad come the end of the year there. George Russell, Lando, Norris, our fellow Brits right behind us, ahead of Alonso and Pierre Gasly rounding out the top 10. Any other major surprises? Oh, Oscar Piastri clearly had a mechanical failure very late on in the day as well there, so Aaron Barnes promoted up into P20 and less than a second away from the next car. For Aaron Barnes, being less than a minute away from the next car is quite an impressive feat. Championship-wise, though, gap of the top down to 39 points then as we leave Europe. Sergio Perez still definitely within a shot as well if he can hook it up between now and the end of the year. We do re-jump Pierre Gasly, though, back up into 11th place. We could have been very, very close to Esteban Ocon, but I don't think we can complain all too much about that. Maybe, just maybe, top 10 still by the end of the season is possible here. No other movers, though, further down the roster. Constructors-wise, though, far more importantly, we build up a bit of a gap against those Haas cars once again. So that's really, really important for the team and, of course, for the prize money as well come the end of the season there. Red Bull, 70 points still clear of Ferrari. They just continue to monitor that gap at the top of the table, and after it looked like Mercedes could be quite a threat as well, dropping away from Ferrari a little bit later on in the season. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourselves subscribed as well, and we will be back tomorrow then when Formula One returns ready to the Singapore Grand Prix, one of the toughest races on the calendar. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.